This one is example 8 in your book. You also have to know a formula for this one. The formula we're going to use here is for simple interest, and they tell us in the problem that we're going to use simple interest. The formula for interest, simple interest again, is interest equals principal. Principal is the amount of money that you borrow or the amount of money that you're actually putting in an account, times rate. Rate is the percentage, the interest rate. When you do math, you always change cents to decimals by moving the decimal 2 places to the left. And time is time in years. Now, when we look at this problem, it says that Jared's 2 student loans total $12,000. One loan is at 5% simple interest, and the other is at 8% simple interest. After 1 year, Jared owes $750 interest. What is the amount of each loan? So we need to define our variables just like we did in previous problems. And if we know that the total is $12,000, if I say let X equal one loan, maybe the first loan at 5%, and we're not yet using two variables. We haven't done problems where we've used an X and a Y. If I have a total of $12,000 and I let one be X, I have 12,000 minus X left over. It's just like if you had 5 apples and you gave 3 away. You would have 2 left, and you knew that by saying 5 minus 3. So when we define our variables, we want to now say let the remainder, which is 12,000 minus X, this tablet, my writing is just horrible here, equal the loan at 8% interest. So we have 2 loans. This is the first one. This is the second one. Now, both of those involve the formula I equals PRT. We have 2 of those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw circles to represent both of them so that we can talk about separate formulas for both of them. We have this X value, this first one. It's at 5% interest. So if I'm trying to calculate the interest, I'm going to have P, which is X, R, which is 5%, and T. And this is that T, we're talking about a loan that is just 1 year long. So if we're going to multiply by 1, we don't even have to write that down. If it had been a 2, we would need to write times 2 here. But since we're talking about 1 year, we don't have to actually write that. This circle represents the interest for the first loan. Principal times rate times time, which is 1. This circle will represent the interest in the other one. Principal, which is 12,000 minus X. I'm not going to be able to fit it in my circle, am I? Principal times rate, which is 8. And again, times time, which is 1. Now, we have both of these things that represent the interest. We have been told that we have a total of $750 in interest. Now, anytime you talk about total or something that is all together, we are doing addition. So if I'm adding the amount of interest of this loan and the amount of interest of this loan, I'm going to plop a plus sign between them. And we know that those interests, the 2 interests together, are equal to $750. Now, if you've drawn your picture correctly, you will actually already have your equation worked out for you. Here we have X times 0.05. Well, that's just 0.05X. Here it's a little different because we have 12,000 minus X times 0.08. That's a little hard to take in, so what we would probably want to do is do 0.08 times 12,000 minus X. And remember, we can multiply in any order we want to. So I'm going to distribute like this and write it down that way. So I'm going to have 0.08 times 12,000, and we would probably pull up our calculator and multiply that out. So here we would have 960. We're going to go back to our work now. 0.08 times 12,000 is 960. So we're going to put that in our equation. When we take 0.08 times 12,000, we get 960. And 0.08 times negative x is negative 0.08x. That's all equal to 750. Now this equation has decimals in it, but it's just like any other equation. We have on the left side 0.05x minus 0.08x. That would give us negative 0.03x. And we would want to bring the 960 to the other side and subtract. So we would get negative 210. Take our calculator and divide both sides by negative 0.03. So negative 210 divided by negative 0.03, which is 7,000. Now, when we defined our variable, we said that x was a loan at 5%. So x is $7,000. That's how much we borrowed at 5%. We said that 12,000 minus x, so 12,000 minus 7,000, which would be 5,000, is the loan at 8%. Now, you have to really be careful in the wording of these problems. I've seen a lot of the problems that say things like, what is the amount of the loan at 8%? So they're asking you for this part of it, the 12,000 minus the 7,000. You have to be really careful and make sure that the answer you're giving is the answer that they're asking for.